Thanks very much. As mentioned, Deloitte has been involved in this particular area for a while and has a team of people that deal with medical marijuana businesses. I'm a lawyer practicing in Deloitte tax law, which is affiliated with Deloitte, and speak on behalf of Deloitte tax law. The point of this little presentation is a brief on what critical issues might be considered by a person that wants to start up this type of a business. In the materials, you'll have like a brief of a document that deals with all these wonderful issues, and I won't bore you with the details, but only a lawyer would call a 10-page document a brief. The point of all this is that there are several things that you want to deal with from the get-go before things get complicated. Planning is critical, and this is only a list of some of the issues. There are many others, of course, and depending upon your circumstances, they might be high in your priority or low in your priority. So businesses face several issues: legal, regulatory, tax, real estate, and so forth. Deloitte has a number of entities or branches, groups of individuals that specialize in each one of these areas. I happen to be in the tax group. Planning is critical. I think that if that is the only takeaway that you have from this little bitty, it's that. If you want to get going in this particular area, there will be competition, and you will need to know how you're going to make money. What is your plan, the path to profitability? It's at the heart of obtaining financing. It's at the heart of obtaining partnerships. It has very great significance at the beginning. It helps you in objective setting, keeping you on track, and so forth. So the things that I'm talking about are determining what are your fixed costs, what's your sales revenue going to be like, what is your profit going to look like, do a profit and loss analysis, like a projection, and cost flow analysis, and a startup analysis. Another critical issue is branding. Companies spend millions of dollars on finding the right name, finding the right logo, making this part of their business plan. And again, if you don't have a strong brand, it may be that your business will falter and your competition will be strengthened. Corporate identity begins with your corporate name. Finding the right name, Tweed, for example, is an important issue. You can register that across the country if you have a federal company, and you can also protect your intellectual property rights by registering a trademark, and a trade name under the Trademarks Act. Forms of business, that's the next critical issue. What form is your business going to look like? Is it going to be a partnership? Is it going to be a corporation? Corporations are generally, that's what I see most generally in new businesses. And the shape of your corporation, who are the shareholders, what rights do they have, and all sorts of things. These are all set out in your incorporating documents. And you can tailor them to whatever needs you have, having regard to the considerations that I've listed here. The expected business size, number of owners, persons who have control, what are your financing needs. All these issues are taken into account in structuring your corporation or business. Corporation is a legal person, separate from the owners. It shelters you from liability. If you're the owner and you're operating as a sole proprietorship, you might be liable for the debts of the business and other liabilities. If you have a corporation, it's a separate legal entity, and it shelters you from being liable in certain circumstances. Director's liability, another critical issue to deal with. When a company is formed or a corporation is formed, it has directors that are responsible for the management of the affairs of the company. And although shareholders, the owners, are normally liable for the debts of of the company, directors can be. And one of the typical debts that can be collected against directors are taxes. GST, Canada Pension Plan, EI, all these wonderful things. The government has rules in its favor, and it can go after directors for these types of things. So it's important for directors to keep current with regulations dealing with how a company is supposed to be operated. What are the things that it has to do, what payments it has to make, and so forth. Financing, getting money to run your business. This is another important area. What do you do? Deloitte has a number of professional advisors in the area of debt financing and equity financing and so forth. So I've put those two major categories in this little slide: debt financing, money to borrow to find your money to operate the business, and equity financing, ownership of shares in the company. Those are primary methods. Permits and licensing. Most of you folks will know a lot more about the regulations than I do, but it looks like to me that licensing in this particular area of business is a critical factor, and the licensing process seems stringent. There are security checks and building requirements and notices to local authorities and so forth that have to be observed before you even get a license. So that is something to really focus on if you're planning to operate a business in this area. Legal documents. Getting your tackle in order in terms of getting your company organized, and also what legal documents do you need to operate the business. You need a shareholders agreement, directors' resolutions, employment contracts, lease agreements, agreements for the purchase and sale of property, or security agreements for financing. Taxes. Everybody loves this topic, I'm sure. It's best to sort out tax compliance issues at the get-go, because I've seen it the other way and it doesn't work out very well. It's 10 times more expensive to fix a tax problem than it is to have it sorted out at the beginning. So consider basic issues even at the outset. What is the tax treatment of your company going to look like? How much is it going to have to pay? How much are dividends taxed at? How can you get money out of the company? Obtaining a business number so it can start claiming input tax credits for GST and all those wonderful things. Charging GST. Are you going to charge GST and sales tax on your goods? Determining deductions. A lot of companies get into trouble because they don't really understand what they can claim and what they can't. Then determining eligibility for tax incentives. One big tax incentive program is the Scientific Research and Experimental Development Credit. It's the single largest federal source of funding for R&D. You might be eligible for that. See whether you are. Do that planning up front. Business premises. Where are you going to operate the business? Many businesses start with leased premises because that's the least expensive way of operating. Some of the issues you have to look at in terms of business premises are listed there. What is the effect of use on the building insurance? Is the space releasable after the lease term? What happens in the event of default? Security issues with the building. You have to implement new security measures. What are the costs of utilities? Are you going to share this building with any other tenants? Business purchase. You might want to buy a business that is existing. Then there are considerations. Who knows? In the future, this could happen. You have to decide whether you want to buy the assets or if you want to buy the shares. If you buy the assets, there's a certain treatment of taxes. And if you buy the shares, there's another treatment. Which would be preferable to you? So, in conclusion, there are a number of key considerations when planning to establish a medical marijuana business. The opportunities may be great. There are a number of business and legal considerations to deal with. and a trusted advisor can help you navigate through to the path to profitability. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you have now or later on at the back. Thank you.
Any questions?